Greetings, everyone. Wayne Bennett here with ECRM and Range Me, and I have a very special guest today that I am going to chat with. Welcome, Clayton Kilkenny, who is the Director of Retail at ECRM Europe, and we're going to have a discussion about some European trends and key retailers you may need to know more about. So, Clayton, good morning and good evening, I think it is, or good afternoon, should I say. Tell us where you are.
Good afternoon and good morning, Wayne. Delighted to be here. Thanks for having me. I'm located in Amsterdam Oost, as you might be able to see in the background.
Right. Looks like it's a lively day there. Beautiful sunny day.
It is. It was a lovely morning after we've had about a week's worth of rain and hail. It's nice to catch a little bit of sunshine.
Great. Well, Clayton, it's always sunny when we get a chance to talk. So let's get into it. So tell us a little bit about ECRM Europe.
Okay, so whilst what you might not know about ECRM has been located here in Europe or been at least performing summits here since 2003. We opened the first office here in the Netherlands, in Utrecht, in 2017. Started off with just 3 people and a big ambition. Since those days, we've now expanded the team tenfold, now up to around about 29 people. Range Me launched here in the UK just last year. Since then, developed relationships and key partnerships with Tesco, Asda, Co-op, Iceland, and many more, before venturing out into the rest of Europe, into the continent, and partnering with Holland & Barrett right here in the Netherlands.
That's great. And Clayton, with that footprint, I'm curious to know, what can ECRM offer our U.S. clients, whether they're suppliers or retailers here in the United States?
That's a good question. For us here in Europe, we now have 15 programs. We cover food and beverage, also HBC, health, beauty, and personal care. If we have US retailers, for instance, that are looking to expand their European assortment, now is the perfect opportunity. We now have the wonderful digital solutions where you can wake up in the United States and then meet with 10 to 15 suppliers before lunchtime. For suppliers, it's the same package. You get to meet with wonderful European retailers that are interested in expanding their assortments with international goods.
That's great. Thank you. And Clayton, so what are some of the trends affecting European consumers, and how is that impacting the retail market?
Well, we do have a lot at the moment. A lot of it is negative. A lot of it is impacted, I guess, in Ukraine and from Russia. And also just coming out of the end of the pandemic. So one of the big ones is the rising prices. We have rising prices of energy, rising prices of interest rates. Inflation is at the highest point as it has been in decades in many countries. We also have the supply chain concerns, primarily related to sunflower oils and grains, and also fertilizer, with Ukraine and Russia being some of the world's largest producers in these products.
Right.
How does that affect the...
Yeah,
sure. How does that affect the retail market? There's a reduction in consumer spending, products that might be out of stock. Own brand is hit particularly hard. One of the biggest impacts has been with existing supplier agreements. So the rising costs are working their way right through the supply chain. We've got the cost to borrow money increasing, fertilizer, raw ingredients, the energy to process the goods, and also the cost of fuel to transport and ship these goods as well. This is all just contributing into suppliers not being able to fulfill their contractual obligations, and clearly a lot of headaches for the retail teams.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. A lot of similarities there as to here as well. And Clayton, so aside from those economic factors, can you tell us maybe a little bit more about some things going on in the European retail theater?
Sure. Well, since the pandemic, I imagine in the US as well, there's been a very big push towards convenience and Q-commerce. Europe's densely populated cities are the perfect breeding ground for fast delivery services and providers. Flink and Gorillas, both born in Berlin, both unicorns, have set up in more than 60 cities, closely followed by companies GoPuff from the US. We also have Zap and Getir that are very well represented in the major markets. The regulation has been slow, but similar to what we found in San Francisco, here in Amsterdam, as an example, they are really clamping down on those dark stores. In doing so, that creates barriers to entry for new players to join and big moats for the existing players. increasing the already sky-high valuations.
Interesting.
The focus has then been for traditional retailers to really create convenient delivery solutions to the last mile dilemma. While some retailers are determined to do this on their own, we are seeing many collaborations. For instance, here in the Netherlands, Gorillas and Jumbo just launched a big partnership, allowing all of the Jumbo's essential and groceries products to be found on the application.
Great, thank you. And Clayton, so in the key countries in Europe, so for instance, UK, France, Germany, who are the leading retailers, and can you tell us a little bit about why they're different and maybe what are some of their key initiatives?
Sure. For those that are not too familiar with the retail landscape in Europe, I'll go through a couple of the key players, strategies, and their initiatives.
Right.
In the UK, we have Tesco, one of the major players and retailers, alongside Sainsbury's, Asda, and Morrison's. What makes them different? With Tesco, one of the key differences is their commitment to their communities. Tesco strongly supports diversity and inclusion in their workforce, and they're a big contributor to food banks, the Cancer Research, Heart Foundation, and also diabetes. This customer-centric approach, alongside their obvious commitment to low prices, a wide assortment, and convenient locations, has been rewarded with a loyal customer base and around 27% market share. In France, Carrefour, alongside other big players like Auchan, Le Mousquetaire, System U, and Casino. An interesting fact about Carrefour, they opened their first hypermarket in France after being inspired by the US grocery stores. The first store included 400 free parking spaces and a vast range of products at affordable prices. They now have more than 1,200 hypermarkets worldwide, complemented by 3,500 supermarkets and about 7,000 convenience stores. What makes Carrefour different is their commitment to sustainability and shops without plastic. They have a big aim and a big goal to put healthy, organic, fresh, and local food within everybody's reach. They are working upstream with agriculture and food sector stakeholders and developing their own Carrefour quality lines. They've also committed to reducing management costs and the size of their product ranges, to reinvest this 2.8 billion worth of savings to enhance their online shopping experience. With Germany, the home of such massive and very large innovations in retail, particularly around discounters historically, and more recently with the mentioned Flink and Gorillas. If we focused on one retailer in Germany, I'd probably pick Aldi. The key difference between Aldi and traditional retail stores would be their Aldi branded products, taking up more than 90% of the products that they stock in store. The same as with some of the other retailers that we mentioned, Aldi does focus also on convenience and low price, but it's the innovative way that they cut costs that has made them such a dominant force here and also abroad. They've got a limited range, 1,400 products compared to the sometimes 100,000 you might find locally in Walmart. They have strong relationships with key manufacturers and offer shoppers a simple store layout where they can efficiently find what they're looking for. Aldi is still breaking new ground with their own branded products. They recently launched their own branded wine and ever so slightly increasing their product range to allow more selection for their customers.
That's great. So Clayton, thank you for that overview. And, certainly lots of different countries, lots of different retailers who are leaning into different priorities and modes of operation. So how does that create opportunities for U.S. suppliers? What do U.S. suppliers need to successfully sell in the European market?
Good question. We do get it a lot, obviously, with the ECRM European programs and what are retailers actually looking for. Some of the big points would be just doing your homework, really digging into the market research, which market is it best to launch in. There are a lot of synergies between the US market and the UK. And then which stores would you go into? So we've discussed a few of those different options today. Would it be Aldi? Would it be Tesco? Sometimes if you have a product that's a very good fit for Tesco, perhaps it's not going to be a fit for Aldi. We really need to understand the local requirements, whether that comes to packaging or ingredients. And then understanding which way you'd go to market. Do you want to have a local sales team, which would be operating here in Europe? Would you employ somebody that would do the distribution or a sales agent here? Who do you target as well? So if you are targeting, for instance, the Tesco's of the world, does that align more with some of the bigger retailers in Germany? Is that aligned with Edeka? And then in France, it might be Carrefour, and that might be the strategy going across the different markets.
That's
essentially for buyers here, they are looking for the same things as their US counterparts. They're really looking for category growth, increased margin, more shoppers in the store, obviously, conversions online, resilient supply chains, and meaningful product innovation.
That's a great framework. So Clayton, just one last question. So what's in store for ECRM Europe over the coming weeks and months? What programs do we have coming up?
So the next one's coming up is our health week. We actually have purpose-driven, so sustainable purpose-driven beauty week that is coming up in May. We're really excited about this edition. And then just after in June, we have the healthcare week, healthcare, our reactive summit. And then we also have the proactive healthy living program, which will be focused on vitamins, supplements, sports nutrition, and weight management.
And I would assume those categories similar here to the United States are very big in double-digit growth.
100%, particularly with the vitamins and supplements. Immunity is still a very large trend. Gut health and immunity seem to be the biggest trends at the moment, but also in beauty, beauty vitamins, so collagen, skin, hair, and nails, and whether that's in the form of gummies or pills, it's a very growing trend here, as I imagine in the US too.
Yep. Clayton, listen, thank you very much for your time. I enjoyed the conversation. I believe it's probably the start of your weekend over there. So
just about. It's almost 5 p.m.
So maybe it's time for a cocktail, and it looks like you have a very nice day. So Clayton Kilkenny from ECRM Europe Retail, thank you very much for taking time with us. And hopefully in the future, we can come back and provide some more inspiration and insight into the European retail marketplace. Until next time, Clayton, thank you.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, we'll see you again.
See you then.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.